just witnessed a mini meltdown.
You guys.
You just put your hands.
I know.
You had your hands and screeched at the top of your lungs, not for the sake of a bit, but for the sake of your own sanity.
I know.
And I sat here helpless. There was nothing I could do except try not to laugh.
I've got 2 words for you, America. Technical issues.
You know what? Avoidable. And those are the worst kind.
Hi, Gillian Pensavalle.
Hello, Patrick Hines.
I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be all right.
I mean, I guess
Yeah,
so.
all right, okay.
As long as Linda Tripp isn't anywhere near us, I think we'll be okay.
We're going to get to her in just a minute, but bam, couple of things to know.
Okay.
Obsessed Fest is happening.
Yes.
September 31st through October 2nd. It's programming during the day. It's live shows at night. The live shows are True Crime Obsessed, Obsessed with Disappeared, Morbid, and Scamfluencers. If you don't know Scamfluencers, oh my God. Tickets are going real fast. The programming during the day is going to be panels with everybody from you and me and Ellen and Joey to Bob Ruff and Rabia and Maggie.
Yeah.
The Let's Go to Court ladies are doing a live podcast taping. The Generation Y guys are going to be there. Tim and Lance, Rebecca and Kevin from Crime Writers On.
Oh my God. It's going to be like some true crime stuff, some fun stuff, some fun true crime stuff. It's going to be a whole bunch of stuff.
Karaoke on the main stage.
Yes.
Jillian's Taylor Swift sing-along.
Of course.
I'm going to do a thing where I'm reading a chapter of my new book. I think I'm going to do the chapter about when B. Arthur hated me for a weekend.
You simply must.
It's crazy. And so the tickets are going fast, fam. We got a couple hundred tickets left, which I know sounds like a lot, but they're going to go quick. So it's going to be 2,200 of your true crime best friends.
Oh, man.
Go to obsessedfest.com to grab your tickets.
Yeah, and come alone because you're not coming alone. You're coming to see all your friends.
Totally. Don't worry about traveling by yourself.
Don't worry about it.
We're all going to be there. We're doing a big meetup for all the solo travelers.
Yep.
It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be great.
Other than that, all I want to say is join the Patreon.
Sure.
If you want more Gillian and me, 350 full ad-free bonus episodes to download and binge right this second.
The ad-free version of ourselves
it's true.
On the Pates.
Yeah, it's all right there.
All right there. And there's like 1,000 of them. Just make sure your phone has space. And if not, just deal with it.
Yeah, just deal with it.
My phone never has space.
No.
And I'm okay.
I love the people doing the re-listen to the Patreon from the beginning.
I know.
I love these people.
I know, the best.
Lastly, join the Facebook group. That's all I'm going to say. That's it.
Okay.
That's all I got.
All right, fine.
Okay, we love
so
you.
We got a lot to do.
Okay. All right, girl, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about this thing on Hulu. It was an ABC News special called Truth and Lies, Monica and Bill.
I don't even know how to begin to describe what it was. To see my face on TV, to read my name in the newspaper, and know that people are learning about my little relationship, my private relationship, and that all these people that I cared about were going to be in trouble.
This story has everything. It has power, it has politics, it has sex.
A navy blue dress with the president's semen stain on it.
There was a fascination about it, and there was a fascination about Monica. She was a White House intern, and he was the president of the United States.
In the Me Too movement, she would be looked at in a different way.
Monica, you have been described as a stalker, a seductress. Describe yourself.
I'm very loving. I'm very loyal. I think I'm intelligent.
If the Monica Lewinsky scandal happened today with this Me Too movement, Bill Clinton wouldn't be president of the United States. You realize she was just a kid, and she was caught up in one of the biggest scandals in American history.
I've got a bone to pick with you right from the start.
Me?
I kind of.
What?
Ann Coulter's here. We have to
Coulter.
We have to take Ann Coulter seriously as a talking head.
Oh, absolutely not.
She's not even here to get made fun of.
No, absolutely. This is like when Rudy Giuliani showed up in Fear City because he was part of it.
Yeah,
and then if you don't know like who he really is, he looks like not so bad.
God.
And I resent it and I hate it.
Look, I'm just going to say it because I want to get it out. My favorite Ann Coulter joke from those Comedy Central roasts from years ago.
Ann Coulter, if you're here, who's scaring the crows away from our crops?
And that's like nothing compared to what she actually deserves. We'll get into it. She's a nightmare.
I just want to say, we don't usually talk about this like coming up on or like what we're going to see, but we do see a clip of Clinton winning the 92 election.
Yeah.
And it immediately cuts to Al and Tipper Gore, and they're singing along with Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow, and they just look like such fucking boomers.
You know what? They always do at those things.
I know.
Like, more often than not, the band is like, please don't use my song.
Totally.
How dare you?
I know.
How dare you?
Not for the Democrats. They're usually fine with the Democrats.
Yeah, or you have the Republicans playing Fortunate Son. It's like, you don't know what that song means, and you lived it. Read the lyrics to Fortunate Son.
I know.
Before you play it at your goddamn rally.
They're talking about when Clinton was elected president.
It was a generational switch. It was the old guard of Bushes and Reagans that were gone, and now were these young, 40-something Democrats who are going to change the world.
He was young and charming and forward-thinking and charismatic.
Yeah, for the first time in 12 years, a Democrat wins the presidency. And Bill Clinton was super, super popular.
Yeah, and everyone said that he had like a supernatural level of empathy. There was something really charming about Bill Clinton. You know what I mean? He's lost that since.
I mean, like, honestly, after this, I want everyone to go home and write a letter or write a tweet apologizing to Monica Lewinsky for everything we did to her.
I know. She was a grown woman who made bad fucking choices.
Yeah, and he was the fucking president, and she was an intern. Power imbalance out the wazoo.
I couldn't agree more.
Give me a break.
But like, me and Hillary are here to remind you that she was a full-grown woman.
Oh, God. So, look, the Republicans hated Bill for many reasons. Here are a few of them.
Yep.
One, people liked him.
That's true.
Just the fact that he was liked, they hated him.
Because he smoked marijuana 2 times but didn't inhale.
Right. That he dodged the draft.
Yeah.
Ooh, yikes.
Yeah.
And his sex life.
Yeah.
Because Republicans really, really, really care about other people's sex lives.
Oh, my God, so much.
So much. Get out of my uterus.
We're about to go right back to a time where Steve and I aren't even allowed to have sex with each other.
I know.
Isn't that crazy?
God, it is.
The whole thing about his sex life was that, like, it didn't come from nowhere.
There was talk from the early stages about his sexual proclivities.
His greatest challenge as a campaigner, his greatest challenge as a candidate, comes from these ghosts of his promiscuity in Arkansas.
They say that, like, it took the rest of America a little bit to catch up to what everybody in Little Rock already knew, because he had been the governor there, and everybody knew that he was just, like, super loosey-goosey in the pants area.
Promiscuous.
Yeah, thank you. That's the word.
He was cheating on Hillary left and right.
I know.
With all the women who surrounded him and worked for him. Again, power imbalance.
Yeah.
But everyone knew about it.
We learned about this guy, Gary Hart, that they just assume we all know about. Don't know.
I figured you did. You love political stuff.
I thought you were going to say, I was like 8 when this all happened. But Gary, you weren't even born yet. I know.
I felt like a real dummy for the way they just
I had
threw this at us.
heard the name Gary Hart, and apparently Gary Hart in like 88 was the front runner for the Democratic nomination, but lost it because he got busted cheating.
And that's why no one's heard of him.
Exactly. And here's my thing, Bill and Gary and everybody else. It's just not that hard to not cheat on your spouse.
Unless it's a compulsion. And to which with Bill Clinton, it 100% is. And like, I'm not making an excuse, but like, you have to own that. Don't
100%.
act like that's my private life. Not when you're don't do that.
No, not when it could compromise you. That's the whole thing is that like, if you've got secrets and the fucking Russians find out,
then there we go.
This is why for centuries gays couldn't get elected to anything. So that's why Bill Clinton didn't run in 88, because they're like, if they got George Hart and I've done all the same shit as him, I'm definitely not running. But then he figures by 1992, America's over it. So that's when he runs.
It did not blow over, Bill.
It didn't blow. I mean, to his credit, he did win. But then he spent the next 8 years of his life basically in front of a grand jury saying I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Which he did.
Which he did. But the minute he's back in the spotlight, they're like, hey, can we talk about Jennifer Flowers? And he's like, oh, fuck.
Here we go again. A major contender for high public office is confronted by charges of private wrongdoing.
Do you have any comments about the allegations from Jennifer Flowers?
This is where I learned that fucking Scarecrow Ann Coulter's here.
Look.
And I was like, look, I resent having to take her seriously as a talking head. I don't like it at all.
Children, in case you don't know who Ann Coulter is, she's what I like to call a professional nightmare.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is she makes her living by being the worst.
Yes.
So she says insane things to create controversy and get attention. She knows it's awful and she loves it.
Yeah.
See also,
Candace
Owens,
sure,
Rush Limbaugh, Alex Jones, any number of Trumps.
You can't see Rush Limbaugh because he's dead, thank God.
Thank God.
You know?
But those kind of people who are like, I'm going to be awful and I know it, and they try to stir controversy, that's Ann Coulter.
And the problem, what's so annoying about her is that, like, again, like the Milo Yiannopoulos thing from the whenever he was
yeah.
They don't give us any of that context, and she comes off as super smart and funny and charming.
But she does come off as super fucking smug, too, a lot of the time, which is like a little bit of her. She's here because she was actually a major player in the scandal, which they don't go into.
I didn't know that. How was she a player in it?
She was like on the team of lawyers that was helping like bring Bill Clinton down.
I didn't know that. I thought she was just like a talking head on all like the fucking views of the time.
She was like like working with the media outlets like the Drudge Report to get this all out there. So she was like right in the thick of it, but we don't get that context either.
This documentary is sort of lacking in a lot of context in important areas, and also the timeline is all over the place.
I know.
But anyway, Ann Coulter tells us
she was a nightclub singer, the molecular opposite of Hillary.
the exact opposite of Hillary, which is Ann Coulter's shady way of saying like sweet and charming and a person you want to hang out
Also,
with.
fucking barf about Ann Coulter. Have I made that clear? She's the goddamn worst.
I know.
She takes and Linda Tripp does it too.
Yeah.
Every opportunity to just dig at another woman.
Linda
just bring
Tripp,
them down.
fam, we'll get to Linda Tripp in just a minute, but like Linda Tripp, I texted this to you earlier. She only knows how to say things the rude way.
Yeah.
Even when she's not trying to be rude, she just says things the rude way. She's the opposite of you. I've seen you walk around in circles to say things in the polite way.
Yeah, even when the person deserves me saying it the way I want to.
I just am fascinated by Linda. How did you get that way?
I have to say, if I accomplish one thing on this earth, if that one thing is being the anti-Linda Tripp, I will rest well. And I will be okay.
Linda Tripp is, oh my God, what a piece of work, that lady.
Right. So Jennifer Flowers says that she was Bill Clinton's lover for 12 years. She has the tapes to prove it. Bill lies to the press immediately.
It's told to us that Bill and his team see this as an opportunity. If you talk about the infidelity, you don't have to talk about the draft dodging. And people are much more likely to forgive the infidelity than the draft dodging. So let's just talk about that. So that's when we see the famous Bill and Hillary on 60 Minutes, where Hillary says that line, like, I'm not just standing by my man,
It's
like
Tammy
Tammy Wynette. Hillary paid for that to this day.
To this day. But
did you just say Tuesday?
I said to this day, I thought.
Did she stop paying for it on Tuesday?
She did.
She paid for it
2
until
days
last
ago.
Tuesday.
Yeah. See you last Tuesday? But the lying is that Bill's like, she always called me, by the way. I never, ever once called her. Meanwhile, there are tapes of him not only calling her, but telling her how many times he's called her and couldn't get through. Bill, pick a different lie.
Hello.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Bill Clinton.
Hi, Bill.
Hey, I tried to call you. I can't believe I got you. I expected to come look into it and interview you and everything. But I just think that if everybody's on record denying it, you got no problem.
This was kind of like just at the dawn of the internet, so people didn't realize there were receipts everywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And he even says, look, if everyone says the same thing, we are not going to have a problem. So he's saying, I've called you 1,000 times. And he's also saying, let's all lie. It's going to be totally fine. Let's lie about it. Billiam.
Oh, God.
Billiam Clinton.
They explained to us that when Bill is like running for president and wins, the Jennifer Flowers thing is sort of put behind him. It was sort of like America gave him a slap on the wrist. Like, we forgive you for that, but like, don't fucking do it again.
Because he's like, I'm flawed, I'm reformed, please forgive me. And everyone's like, you know what, okay, that's fine. But the thing is, the journalists don't buy it.
No.
They all head down to Arkansas to get as much dirt as they can. At one point, some reporter says,
Suddenly, people were learning much more about Arkansas than perhaps they really wanted to know, and how the Clintons may or may not have tried to make money in ways that were unethical.
everyone learned more than they ever wanted to know about the state of Arkansas. And I'm going to say, as someone who just returned,
totally,
I agree.
You agree. Because they all think that Bill Clinton is like a slippery scumbag. They use the word slippery. And I got to say, as much as like Clinton was beloved in my household, he does come off as a slippery scumbag.
He is.
I know.
Like, because he is.
Right, totally.
Let's not do that
100%.
thing
No,
where we don't call it what it is.
No, he's a slippery scumbag for sure. Quick side note, can I tell a quick funny story?
Sure.
Right before the 2016 election, Steve and Daisy and I were playing in a playground over on the east side.
Yeah.
And I was talking to this mom. Our kids were playing together and whatever. There's like 100 people around. And we talked for like 20 minutes and she walked away. And Steve goes, you know, you just spent 20 minutes talking to Chelsea Clinton.
Shut up.
And it was 100%. And her daughter was Charlotte. And I met
What
Charlotte.
did you guys talk about? Nothing.
Just like
Absolutely
parenting
nothing.
and the kids running around and play. It was and it was like days before the election.
I want you all to write letters and or tweets apologizing to Chelsea as well.
100%.
Like,
oh my God.
What we did to these.
I know.
Oh my God. So they're down in Arkansas, just, getting through it.
Yeah.
And these journalists are coming up with questions, right?
Yeah.
About cover-ups and missing money and cronyism and a mysterious suicide.
Yeah, and this is where we learn Bill and Hillary didn't have any money. Because Bill, as the governor of Arkansas, was being paid $30,000 a year. I did the math on that. The equivalent in 1992, which is his last year being governor in Arkansas, $30,000 was the equivalent of $62,000 in today's money.
Oh, wow.
Maybe our fucking politicians wouldn't have to be slippery scumbags if we paid them appropriately.
Yeah.
And I understand that like many politicians are way overpaid and all of that. I get it. But like that's not enough money for the he's in charge of your whole state.
Yeah.
That's not enough money.
Imagine how nurses feel. And teachers.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I am just saying we give them a lot of power. We should pay them a little bit more.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, it's a mess.
It's not, I didn't
it's a
create
mess.
the system, Gillian.
No,
Don't look
I
at me
know.
like I want to pay them more than the nurses.
It's a mess. Everything is horrible.
It's very bad.
It's so fun. So we're at the Whitewater controversy.
Yeah.
And the Clintons, like, what we learn about this whole thing is that they didn't really look look into the deal as much as they probably should have.
Because they had this friend, Jim McDougal, who like fucking now Ken Starr is here.
I know.
Ken fucking Starr, like the independent counsel who
The Starr Report.
The Starr Report, exactly. Ken Starr is telling us that
when a guy like Jim McDougal comes around and says, ooh, let's invest in this land deal in Whitewater, it seemed like a good, sure thing.
The McDougals, well, they were Bill and Hillary's business partners. They were crooks. So why would you affiliate with a couple of known shady characters if you're Bill and Hillary? Because you could.
Jim McDougal was like, hey, you should buy this real estate over here and invest in it. And they like didn't think about it. They just said, okay, because they thought they were going to make money because they were broke.
Right. And so they learned from Nixon and Watergate to say like, yes, investigate us. So that's why they hire ruthless conservative judge Ken Starr, knowing that he hates them.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of that part in The West Wing where CJ's like, Leo, we need to be investigated by someone who wants to kill us just to watch us die. Am I crazy or is this not a job for the House of Representatives?
No, but that's the thing. Like, to connect the line there, they buy the Whitewater land when he's governor.
Right.
And then when he's president and all of this comes up, is when Clinton's like, hire the worst guy. Hire the guy that hates me the most.
Because he wants the American people to think he must have nothing to hide if they know that Ken Starr is going to be ruthless, which he is.
But the problem is that they look into Whitewater and there's no there there.
There's always been the suspicion that when he got the Whitewater independent counsel job, he became a prosecutor with a political goal, that he wanted to get ahead, and that he saw getting Clinton's scalp as part of that.
The Starr investigation started off being a Whitewater investigation, and it ended up being, any dirt you could find on Bill Clinton.
It turns into like, let's just find any dirt we have on him.
We learn about Travelgate, which is like the Clintons hired the travel staff and put their friends in there instead.
Yeah, Filegate.
Filegate.
It was gate on top of gate on top of gate on top of gate. And there's like a lot
I think I've seen that movie.
Yeah, gate on gate on gate. But there's like a lot of suspicions around the Clintons, and they weren't all that transparent about it. And like someone even says they were so private and so tight-lipped that it worked against them because it just made it look like they had things to hide.
And that, like, when we can say now in retrospect, there actually wasn't much needed to be hidden.
These investigations were a bunch of nothing burgers.
And like Bill and Hillary just didn't know any other way than to just go inside, you know?
Yeah.
And there's this one picture of Hillary, it's a crazy picture, where she's like leaning over, whispering something into Bill's ear, and the other eye is just popped right open, staring at the camera.
They're at a million all the time, like shoulders to their ears, everything's very, so it just looks like they have to be hiding something,
I know,
right?
and they're probably just trying to figure out what they're having for lunch.
Oh my God.
She's like, I really want a cheeseburger.
Get the salad with the grilled chicken.
Totally.
Get that really dry, no fun at all salad that everybody
that's what it's called.
Yeah.
It's called the no fun at all salad.
Yeah,
totally.
Dry chicken on lettuce with no ranch to be seen. So none of these accusations seem to stick. Ken Starr doesn't really find anything. So you'd think that would mean the investigation's over, right?
Right.
Wrong.
So what happens is we learn about Paula Jones.
1994.
And Paula Jones' story is really serious, and we'll get to it in a second, but we also learn about these like two Arkansas state troopers.
Mrs. Clinton said today the allegations by two Arkansas state troopers that they helped Mr. Clinton lead a double life with other women when he was governor will end up in the garbage can.
It seemed like one of those hijinks stories out of Arkansas.
He was obsessed with women.
And he, on several occasions, would tell me the blonde or the brunette or the redhead.
They were the ones that would like be running women for Clinton, like getting women in and out of hotel suites and rooms. They come forward to be like, this guy's a philandering dirtbag.
Because as like we learned, 1994 comes along and Bill Clinton's lawyers are up to their ears dealing with all the cheating he's been doing down in Arkansas his entire life.
I mean, it's so crazy. It's like, wouldn't you think if you had secrets like that you just wouldn't run for office?
I know. It's a compulsion.
I know.
People, I'm sorry, these people are just too, it's more than ambition. There's something, it's another
You're
word.
right.
It's too much.
When I was like in my early 20s, my car got booted because I had so many parking tickets that I didn't pay. And I thought...
That's when they put that thing on where you can't drive it.
And I was like, well, I'll never run for office now. This would be too embarrassing. That was the worst thing I ever did.
We'd be lucky to have you. Car boot and all.
Can you imagine?
But like, even though Ken Starr was hired to look into Whitewater, he's like, oh, this is all I need. The state troopers and the Paula Jones thing, even though one has nothing to do with the other.
Yeah, it's like, it wasn't a narrowly focused investigation. Like, he just had free reign to do whatever he wanted. And this is where we meet literary agent Lucianne Goldberg.
Barf.
She's totally garbage.
Barf.
But in this moment, she's talking about how like everybody knew he was a philanderer. And she goes,
there's an extremely erudite phrase they use down south. They call somebody a horn dog, and I knew he was a horn dog.
Horn dog.
Yeah, we've heard of it, Lucianne.
We've heard the word horn dog, Lucian.
Get out of here, Lucian. You're a literary agent and you're trying to teach us about the word horn dog. We get it. You jerk.
You jerk.
So let's go back to May 1991, which is when the Paula Jones story took place. She came out in 1994, but in 1991 is when it happened.
Yeah. So it's May 1991. We learn Clinton has just flown back from Cleveland where he's given like the defining speech of his early candidacy.
It like solidified the nomination for him.
Right. So he isn't even fully the nominee yet, but he's just given the speech is going to make him the nominee. And he's so hopped up on himself that he just like needs to like have sex with a woman who's not his wife.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So he calls Paula Jones.
Yeah. And like we learned that Paula Jones is like a state employee and one of those troopers that we were talking about.
Well, on the day of May 8th, Trooper Ferguson approached me and handed me a little slip of paper. And he told me that he used the word Bill, would like to meet with you up in this room number. And Mr. Ferguson said, it's okay, we do this all the time.
She's a little confused, and they go, it's okay, we do this all the time, Paula. Stop asking questions, you dumb girl.
Which I was like, way to make her feel special.
I
you know what I mean?
We do this all the time.
I know.
And she's like, okay. Like, she was admittedly naive.
Yes.
And she thought, like, well, if he wants to see me, maybe I'm getting a job.
Because remember, she's a state employee. Like, she cares about local government. So she's thinking the governor, like, is going to maybe offer her a job.
And also, the power imbalance is, like, when you get summoned to his room, you're thinking, this must be work.
Of course.
Because he has the power to give her a better job.
Yep. Can we take a little pause here?
Please, about the press conference?
Yes, because we jump into the future where Paula Jones is giving a press conference explaining what happens.
Oh.
I want to hear you tell this part of the story.
So what happened, she's about to tell her story, but before that, her lawyer or someone is getting up telling the journalist what they're about to hear.
Yes.
And they say, Paula's going to give you a, quote, blow-by-blow account.
Of what happened in the hotel room.
The entire room laughs at her.
Yeah.
Everybody laughs. And you could see it on her face that she's sort of smiling. She doesn't understand it.
Right.
But they're laughing at her. And when you hear the story, you're going to be fucking pissed like me. Before she tells the story, she calls it sexual harassment.
Yes.
It's more than that. So she goes on to say, through interviews in the press conference, because like you were saying, the timeline is a little all over the place.
Yeah.
So she goes into the room, unsure of what's going to happen, hoping it's a job or something having to do with her work.
Yeah.
Well, he tried to pull me over, and he put his hand up my leg. And he told me how he liked the way my curves were, and he liked the way my hair went down to the middle of my back. He walked over beside me, and before I knew it, he had dropped his pants. He exposed himself, and he asked me to kiss it.
He unbuckles his pants, takes his pants off, and, quote, he asked her to kiss it, meaning his penis.
Right.
So when someone gets up there and says she's going to give you a blow-by-blow account and everybody laughs, that is the most garbagey. I mean, we're going to get to more garbage, but that is terrible.
Because she tells us in the press conference, I said, I'm not like that. I'm not that kind of girl. She was humiliated and she left. But the thing is, nobody believed her.
Right.
Like, everybody believed that she had sex with the president and is lying about it. So, like, the blow-by-blow line is even more offensive because the press is telling her to her face, we don't believe you.
Right, because also Bill Clinton said to her, you're a smart girl, let's keep this between us. So she didn't say anything. She was humiliated. I have to say, like, describing something like that, saying the words out loud, no one wants to. And especially, like, you can gaslight yourself and be like, he didn't. What? Did he? Because it's so unbelievable and you're so humiliated.
Yeah, and like somebody says, like, in the current Me Too era, like, we would learn how all too common instances like this are.
Yeah.
But like back in the day, of course it was just as common, if not more, and no one was talking about it. So how brave Paula Jones actually was to come out and like stand in front of a group of journalists and like tell her story.
Right. So remember, that happened in 91 and this lawsuit happens in 1994.
Because Clinton's attorneys are like, you're going to, like, obviously this happened. This is going to ruin you, whether you win this or not. Like, this story is going to ruin you. You need to settle. And we're told that, just his ego wouldn't let him settle, so he denies it.
Well, at first, when Paula files a lawsuit for sexual harassment and civil rights violations, he just refuses to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And he's like, why?
The President of the United States then interposed the most, to me, astonishing defense, which had no merit whatsoever, which is, I don't have to answer a lawsuit. I'm the president. go away.
Because I'm the president.
Exactly.
That's why I don't have to acknowledge it. And I'm like, oh, this is a real slippery slope.
That's the thing. Like, in our current world of politics, we like to think that, like, only the Republicans do this. No, the fucking Democrats can be garbage, too.
Of course.
You know?
Come on, everybody.
I know.
So Paula Jones is like, oh, yeah? She's going to take it to the Supreme Court. And that's when a lot of other women start speaking up. And one of those women is Linda Tripp.
Yeah. Linda Tripp comes forward and is like, I have a young friend who's currently having an affair with the president.
And it's like, Linda Tripp, shut up, you loser. But she's like, I don't have any personal experience with Bill, but my young 20-year-old intern friend named Monica Lewinsky sure does.
The problem is, like, Linda's motivation is bad, but what Monica was doing was very dangerous. And it was very bad for her.
Yes.
And somebody who knew better needed to get her out of there. And that's not why Linda did what she did.
No!
But the result, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I would have done if Monica were coming to me, but I would have done something to end it.
You wouldn't have encouraged her. Linda Tripp was encouraging her because of her own personal gain. Let's get into it.
Okay. Right.
So Linda Tripp, we'll get into it in a minute. But right now, all they tell us is that she worked in the Pentagon and she hated Bill Clinton. We'll get into why.
Then we get this whole thing about the government shutdown of whatever year it was. This is an example of the documentary giving us no context.
Yeah.
I don't remember what year the government shut down, but like basically they sent all the government workers home except the interns.
The interns were allowed to stay.
They were running a skeleton staff at the White House, and Monica Lewinsky, an intern, was the bearer of late-night pizzas to the Oval Office.
And she has all of this access to him. She would bring him late night pizza.
Well, she was bringing everyone late night pizza in this story. But throughout this documentary, we get the actual audio that Linda Tripp recorded.
Yeah.
So like Monica Lewinsky, I'm just going to say this now. Monica thought she was confiding in her friend / mother figure, Linda Tripp.
Totally.
Linda Tripp was never a friend to Monica Lewinsky.
No,
she was always a monster.
And she was on a mission to get a book deal that we'll learn about. And like her agent, that woman, Lucianne, or whatever the hell that woman's name is, said to her, you know the girl that's having sex with the president? You got to get her on tape explaining it all. That'll get us the best possible book deal. And we'll get to take down the president, which I know is the thing you want to do the most.
Right. So, like, when we hear these tapes, Linda Tripp is, like, egging Monica on for her own... I hate her. I can't even finish the sentence.
But she was 22 years old. She's working for the president. Of course, she's very drawn to him. And the thing that's so crazy is that this relationship with Monica Lewinsky starts just as the Paula Jones trial is, like, heating up. He cannot stop himself.
After Paula Jones sues him, he starts up with Monica.
Can you imagine?
And make it make sense.
I know.
I know. Stop talking to me about what the meaning of the word is and just make that part of it make sense.
Yeah, and like Monica's not a part of this documentary, but she's been in other documentaries, so they start using clips from other ones. First of all, she looks like $1 million.
Yeah,
the documentary from like recently, she looks incredible. And she's saying that like...
He paid a lot of attention to me. He spent time sort of standing there and held my hand longer than he should have and gave what others have described as the full Bill Clinton. It feels as if you're the only person standing there.
He would look right into your eyes, make you feel like you're the only person in the room. And of course, like she's 22 and like totally drawn to him.
Right. And we also learned that the Oval Office, of course, is very well protected. You need to pass 3 doors to get in.
Yeah.
And she was always invited in there.
And I didn't even know this. Apparently, there's a small office off of the Oval Office, which is where the president spends most of his time. Because like the Oval Office is only used for like ceremonial purposes or whatever. And so that was like a little tiny little meeting room that was like their hidden private room where they would like get together.
Right. And so it started as a kiss, and then it became more and more. Because Monica says, I just looked at him and said, I have a crush on you. And instead of getting her transferred immediately, instead of handling it like an adult,
or like the leader of the free
president, who is being sued for this very thing, what does this fucking idiot do? This predator, he takes her up on it.
And my thing is like, who thinks you're going to get away with this when you're taking the 22-year-old intern? Even if nobody on your staff talks, you really think she's not going to tell anyone? You really think she's not going to fucking tell somebody?
It's a compulsion. He's not thinking ahead.
Nope.
He's not even thinking about Paula Jones and the lawsuit in that moment.
Yeah.
He's not thinking about any of the other 20 women he's taken advantage of. He is just thinking right now.
Yeah, and then we get like all these stories about like what actually happened between the two of them. Like we're told
after Monica Lewinsky flashes her thong at Bill Clinton, she's with him at one point when he's talking on the phone to a congressman.
He has her performing oral sex on him as he's talking with 2 congressmen about sending troops into battle, and who later said, oh my gosh, that was me.
And then we're told that she was giving him oral sex while he was on the phone with 2 congressmen talking about sending troops into battle. We are told that story by Ann Coulter.
Yeah, I don't know about
that. Take that shit with a grain of salt.
I know.
Get back out to the fields, Ann. We got to guard the crops.
Ann Coulter, you piece of fucking trash.
Do you think she's a pain at the 20?
No. And if she is, take your fucking money back and I'll refund her. No, because if she was, she'd be tweeting at us to try to get more clout or whatever about how horrible we are.
Oh, God.
In one of those documentaries, the footage that we see, Monica says, I have to tell you, I was swept away. It was cool and irresponsible. And oh my God, it's the president. And like, he sees her as just another sex object. Right. He has the most powerful job in the world. And she's a 22-year-old intern. And that's disgusting.
Yeah.
So like their quote relationship starts. And what their relationship is like, they'd meet up sporadically every several months.
Yeah.
Another thing that I think people thought is that it was like every night they were having this like torrid affair.
Right.
And it was spread out over several months, which was killing Monica.
Yes.
All she wanted to do was see him. And he would say like, I can't see you. I can't do this. But he also wouldn't say like, Monica, we can't do this at all.
Right.
He was leading her on because he liked the attention.
Yeah, and he liked the sex.
And the sex. When he got it, but he had plenty of other women. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, Monica wasn't the only one.
The extent of their relationship was far bigger than most people know. It wasn't just like a single sex act in the Oval Office. They had a relationship.
I really think Monica thought he was going to divorce Hillary and marry her.
Dirtbag Ann Coulter does make a decent point where she's like, I really think Monica thought he was going to leave his wife and marry her.
I'm sure he was like, once I'm done with this whole presidency thing, it'll be me and you, baby.
And then I was like, who cares what you think, Ann Coulter?
You, Ann
Go
Coulter.
guard the pasture.
She looks like, I don't like talking about people's looks.
No, me either.
But there is something about her that she feels like the Crypt Keeper. And that's all I wanted to say. If you have a side-by-side of Ann Coulter and the Crypt Keeper, you say, who's more evil? I don't know.
I know.
That's all I'm saying. But he would also like recycle his own moves. Like the same book he gave Hillary, apparently Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman, he was like giving to Monica too.
And stop doing that. Like if men, women, if somebody gives you a copy of Leaves of Grass on a date, really
run.
That's such a player move.
Yeah.
Like look how like worldly and classy I am. I love Walt Whitman. Shut up.
You know what? Don't give me homework on a date. Aren't we here to have fun? Don't give me something to read. What do you want, a book report next week?
I know.
Absolutely not.
And Ann Coulter says, I think you had a closet full
Shut
of
up, Ann Coulter.
I know. But like, that's the thing. Every now and then she says something funny.
It's like Rudy in Fierce City, Rudy Giuliani. If you didn't know anything, you'd be like, he seems like a totally level-headed guy. He is not. He is so not. And neither is this monster, Ann Coulter. Speaking of monsters, let's talk about how Monica Lewinsky meets Linda Tripp.
So this is my favorite thing in the world because...
Are you talking about the Music Man?
No.
Can I just take it for a second?
I can't believe I wasn't talking about the Music Man, but no.
So the staff knows that Bill has, quote, a wandering eye, right? They know something's up with Bill and Monica. She's around a lot. Like something's going on. They know he's cheating left, right, and center, as they say in the UK.
Right.
And so someone is just like, and that's when we realize they got trouble. They got trouble with a capital T. And then I'm just like, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for Pentagon, which is where Monica got transferred and how she met Linda Tripp.
Can you imagine, like, you're banging the president, you're super in love with him, and then one day you get the notice that you're being transferred to the fucking Pentagon?
But the thing is that we'll get to later, they weren't banging.
Right, exactly.
You know?
But they're having a relationship.
Of course, they have it's a sexual relationship, no question.
I'm just trying to put myself in Monica's head to get the letter that, like, sorry, like, today's your last day at the White House.
Right.
You're never going to see the fucking president again.
You're being banished to the Pentagon.
So now we're, like, getting a sit-down interview with Linda Tripp from 2001.
Oh, my God.
When Monica goes to the Pentagon, she meets Linda Tripp because currently that's where Linda Tripp works.
Monica arrived in April of '96. I had very little to do with her. She was a pest. She'd show up at my desk. She'd want a picture of Clinton. And so I thought of her as a groupie, just an immature young lady.
Linda Tripp in this interview has got a chip on her shoulder and a sweater. She did that thing where she wrapped a sweater around her.
This gigantic, like, lavender sweater where it's like, that's take it off.
It's the thing where, like, she was never going to wear it being over her back and her shoulders is part of the look. It's part of the look of the outfit.
But in 2001, Linda, I'm no fashionista, believe me. Feels a little outdated for 2001. Am I wrong?
I guess you're just going to leave that on for the whole interview? Great,
and
Linda,
she's like leaning forward a lot. She's a nightmare. So Linda Tripp in 2001, after she has all this distance, she's still saying, Monica was an immature groupie. She was a pest. She'd show up at my desk asking for pictures of Bill. And I got to say, I had very little to do with her.
I know.
Then she says, it was clear that Monica was someone's pet rock to get that kind of job. Any way to just cut her down.
It's crazy. But this is where we get the Linda Tripp backstory, which I
God.
just think is so funny. She worked at the White House under George H.W. Bush, loved the Bushes. They were clean, neat, and tidy. She thinks the new inhabitants of the White House, the Clintons, and their staff are a bunch of slobs.
She hates them.
She hates them.
She hates the administration, everyone in it. She misses the Bush years.
Of course.
She cannot wait. So she was so obsessed with the White House.
Oh, my God.
You know how children sometimes grow up and want to be Miss America, or that clearly wasn't a choice. To me, the White House was the dream. I would have cleaned toilets with my tongue to work in the White House.
I would have cleaned toilets with my tongue to work there. Linda, girl, sit down.
I just said, calm down. We get it. You could have just said I really wanted to work at the White House.
Again, that's not she is trying
Why
to
did
be
I write
like
that script?
Yeah, right. She's trying to be like quotable.
Yeah.
And like, oh, how cool. It's like Linda Tripp, you
I know.
still are talking shit about Monica Lewinsky all of these years removed from
I
it.
know.
She's a loser.
She's such a loser. But so like Linda was kept on at the White House when the Clintons came in, and eventually one day they were like, she's too grumpy. Get her out of here.
But she's, so they're like, send her to the Pentagon with all the other people we like banished from the Oval or whatever. And she's like super entitled.
She really
She
is.
doesn't understand that like that's what happens with a new administration,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she's lucky to still be on the payroll to
I
begin
know.
with.
She does not want to be at the Pentagon.
Well, Linda Tripp had worked in the White House under President George H.W. Bush. She was clearly not a fan of the new folks at the White House. She viewed them as slovenly.
They were disrespecting the house that she respected so much.
She hates Bill Clinton. She hates those fucking wives. Oh, wait, I just missed the Bush years. And I'm like, imagine missing the Bush years that much that you ruin Monica Lewinsky's life.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, that's her straight line. Like, Linda Tripp is like, I miss the Bushes.
Yes.
I hate the Clintons. I'm going to ruin Monica Lewinsky's life.
Totally.
That's like, that made total sense to her.
And she's just so angry. Like,
she's so mad.
This is like the part where I say that, like, even to this day, she only speaks in insults.
Yes.
She only speaks, like, every insult is a perfect zinger.
But it's like,
I gotta give it to her, GP. I gotta give it to her.
But if you're so obsessed with the White House, don't you know how it works?
I know.
You know, like, you
Yeah.
can't have everything you want. I don't know. I'm sure, like, yeah, stay angry, I guess.
I
Like, go
know.
out and vote and campaign, but don't just, like, stew in the basement of the Pentagon, like.
Well, so she meets Monica Lewinsky. They become, like, quote, best friends right away. And everyone's like, they both love to gossip. They both love the drama. They were a perfect match.
You know what just occurred to me?
What?
Linda is also an immature groupie. She's just a groupie for the White House Republicans.
Totally.
Just as much as
Oh,
she is
yeah.
accusing Monica of being a groupie.
Yeah, totally.
Take that, Linda.
But the thing that we learn about their, like, relationship is that it's, like, within seconds, Monica is telling Linda Tripp about her relationship with the president.
Which makes me sad that Monica, like, didn't really have anyone.
I know.
It seems like, it appears that she was very, very lonely.
Yeah.
And she needed sort of like a mother figure, and that's what Linda Tripp became to her.
And it's like the worst person for Monica to have told is Linda Tripp.
Who hates him. And he's like, Linda, who? Hates him with the 5,000 Suns.
And Linda says,
I was more than happy to listen. I was fascinated. I couldn't believe, could he be that reckless? Could he be that arrogantly reckless to philander with a child? I was reeling from the horror of it all.
I was fascinated.
Because Linda
I
wants
know.
to write and sell a book
Right.
about her experience in the White House and how much she hates the Clintons.
Right. And so this is where we get back to that woman, Lucianne Goldberg, who's garbage, because we learned she's a book agent, but she's like a super political conservative. Lucianne, by the way, is a hoot. I don't think that she and I would get along,
No.
but she's kind of funny in this.
I want to throw her Gin Ricky on her.
I know.
That's probably what she drinks.
But Linda calls Lucianne and is like, I got this story. I know this girl. She's like hooking up with the president. I want to write a book. What do I do? And Lucianne is the woman who's like, you got to tape it. You got to tape everything. And you've been having conversations with Monica for weeks or months or whatever. You got to go back and get her to retell you all the shit
Right.
she told you on tape.
Because Linda was already taking extensive notes.
Yeah.
So every time Monica's like,
We're getting up, and I'm like, I love you, butthead. I called him butthead.
You didn't.
I did.
I called the president a butthead. And Linda's like, oh, Monica, you didn't. And it's like, she is egging her on the whole time.
Monica.
Oh, Monica, what are we going to do with you? But Linda, the fucking loser, was gossiping, fake gossiping with 22-year-old Monica and writing dates, times, locations,
know.
quotes. So Lucianne's like, that means nothing to me. Go back and get her to repeat all of it. Tell her to tell you the story again from the top, 5, 6, 7, 8, and let's get it all on tape.
And like Monica was just too naive to realize what was happening, you know?
And Lucianne does say she is trash, but she does say, Linda, this will destroy Monica.
Yes.
Do you want to do this to a 22-year-old? Like, are you sure you want to be the person who does this to her?
Yeah.
You could just gently tell her, this is a really bad idea.
Yes.
Don't sleep with the president. This is horrible for you. Please have a friend your age and go out and go to a gay bar, for God's sake.
Which she ended up doing for the next 3 decades.
She shouldn't have had to go through hell to get to the gay bar.
But see, she wanted it to one, and she never left.
The road to hell is paved with good gay bars. So, like, Linda Tripp Monica could have made different choices.
Yeah.
Linda Tripp also could have.
I 1,000,000% agree.
So we learned
She had over 20 hours of tapes. What to do with those tapes? Well, she found something to do.
It's chilling to hear her draw out of Monica Lewinsky what she, Linda Tripp, needs to advance her goal of bringing down Bill Clinton.
Linda has over 20 hours of tape. That's like evil that she's doing this with such a purpose.
Linda says, I did not betray her. I probably saved her life. Linda,
please. Again, she has years of distance when she's saying this. And she's still firmly, like, I guess we all have to sleep at night somehow. And that's how Linda gets her Z's. And so on the audio, Monica says to Linda outright, I could never come forward about this. It would ruin my life. Like, Linda, if you said anything or if anyone did, I would deny it to the death.
Monica is also living for the Clinton re-election because Clinton, according to Monica, has told her, if I get reelected, I'm bringing you back to the White House. And he gets reelected and does not follow through on that promise.
Because he didn't care about her.
I know.
Like, he was just playing her, and that's so gross.
And, like, they say, like, 6 or 7 months go by without them talking very much, and she's just showing up at public events just trying to see him.
I know. And those are all the famous clips.
Exactly.
Of her looking up, hopeful, maybe he'll look at me. It's like, it's God.
It's very sad.
But Linda hears this would ruin my life from Monica, and she goes, you know what? I have another phone call. She goes right to Paula Jones and her lawyers and says, I have all of these tapes of some other woman. Do you want them?
Exactly.
And they say, hell yes.
And I gotta say, like, at this part of the doc, we start to get more and more of the Monica tapes. She is hysterical.
She's
like sobbing. It's like, she's like, I'm so hurt. Oh my God.
It's so hard. I know. But if it's any consolation. You have no idea how hurt I am that I'm not going back. I know. No idea. It's the worst. It's the worst. I know that.
It is so tragic because Linda just wants more and more of the story.
Right. So she's saying, like, she's just like, oh my God. And she would encourage this because it was good for her book.
And then she says in that interview, she goes, the histrionics never stopped. They just increased. Linda. You're the reason.
Exactly.
I said, Linda is not what we would call an empath.
No. So Bill Clinton promised that Monica can get back to the White House once he wins re-election.
Yeah.
He gets reelected. He doesn't do that.
Right.
So Bill Clinton decides to get Monica a shut-up job. He calls a friend of his named Vernon Jordan, who's a very fancy-pants lawyer, famous, well-respected, whatever. And Bill calls him up, and he gets Monica a job at Revlon.
I mean, isn't this insane that, like you can pretend that you don't know who she is, but you're calling your friend about her to get a fancy job.
To get her out of the White House because she's too much trouble for you.
And also, like, Monica really doesn't want to have to interview for the job. She just wants to be told where to go and when.
She's like, ideally, yeah. So Linda Tripp brings all of this audio to Ken Starr, garbage Ken Starr.
So Ken Starr is still, remember he started out like investigating the Whitewater stuff?
Right.
He's still fucking on Clinton all these years later.
Right.
And so Linda brings all the tapes to him.
And some reporter says something that just like really nails it. They say,
I couldn't believe that Ken Starr would have gotten involved in this. It was as much a story about potential prosecutorial overreach as it was about sexual dalliance with a former intern.
We're getting real far away from the point.
Exactly. And so because Ken Starr's office is involved, suddenly the FBI is involved. And the FBI gets Linda to invite Monica to lunch at the food court at Pentagon City. Fancy.
Small budget for the FBI, I see. The food court. But I guess...
Lots of Panda Express. You know what I mean? Lots of options.
I guess it can't be out of the ordinary. Because Linda wouldn't be like, let's go to this she's not springing for a fancy steak lunch. Food court sounds about right for Linda.
Yeah. Of course, at this point, unbeknownst to Monica, Linda's cooperated with the prosecutors.
And she's wearing a wire.
She's wired.
So Monica wants to talk to Linda about perjuring themselves.
Right.
Because at this point, Monica has been subpoenaed and she lied.
Because what's happening is the FBI and the prosecutors are trying to get Clinton. And in order to get Clinton, they got to get Monica to flip on him. And in order to get Monica to flip on him, they got to get her to do some really bad shit so they can threaten to throw her in jail for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
In this conversation with Linda Tripp, she acknowledges that she would would lie under oath.
And she's begging Linda not to say anything.
Yeah.
And because Monica's like, Linda, I'm telling you right now in front of this Panda Express as my witness, my biggest fear in this moment is you telling someone about this.
Yes. And she also acknowledges that she signed a false affidavit. So she lied, saying she didn't have like a relationship with the president.
And all of a sudden, the FBI and Ken Starr's people swoop in and take Monica. We got her. Other people's sex lives. We love it.
May I please finish my Panda Express?
Absolutely not, but you can take it to go because I'm hungry and I want it.
But they take Monica like from this lunch at the food court with Linda, which she's probably like, oh God, I can't wait to get away from her anyway.
Totally. I just got to get this out. I just got to vent to somebody and then I'm off.
But they take her to a hotel room and Ken Starr is here to say
she was not taken into custody. There was no question that she was free to leave, but we invited her to continue the conversation with our agents.
We made it real clear she wasn't under arrest. She could leave at any time.
I call bullshit on that, Ken Starr. That is not what happened.
No.
That's not what you do ever in this situation.
No, they take her to a hotel room where they scare the living shit out of her. They tell her they're going to get her on obstruction of justice, witness tampering, and conspiracy. She's potentially facing 20 years in prison, and they're going to get her mom.
Yeah, and your little dog, too, essentially, is what they said to her. And they're trying to get her to turn on the president.
Yes.
And say that he told her to lie and told her to lie about Paula Jones and say all this stuff. They want to use her to go after Bill Clinton, and she refuses. She's like, I'm not wearing a wire. I'm going to stay loyal. I'm not going to turn on him.
So she refuses the FBI. She says, I'm not doing any of that. Her mom comes and gets her. Her mom's got an apartment at the Watergate.
Yeah.
They go back to the mom's apartment, and Monica describes,
my mom lay awake all night watching me sleep and made me take a shower with the door open because she didn't want me to hurt myself.
She was afraid you might do yourself harm, kill yourself?
I felt very responsible.
They were afraid that she was going to kill herself.
Right. So now Bill Clinton is being deposed for the Paula Jones case. It's a massive deal.
Yeah. I mean, I was like in middle school or something. I kind of remember what a big deal this was. And they're saying like the president is being deposed. He can't say no to this. He has to do it. And so Paula Jones, and I'm with her, she's like, I'm going to be vindicated today.
Of course.
Because the world thinks she's lying. They paint her as an opportunistic woman coming after the president. She wants $2 million to settle it. But she's like, the president has to tell the truth today and I'm going to be vindicated.
Yeah.
And it's not what happens.
Paula, I'm so sorry, girl. He doesn't. He denies everything.
Also, can I just say this?
Yeah.
He arrives in a presidential motorcade. Paula Jones arrives in a fucking taxi. Can we take care of our witnesses better? Not only does she arrive in a taxi, she's mobbed by people. People are touching her, grabbing at her. There's like send a car for her, Ken Starr. Jesus.
I know. It's horrible. So he denies everything, never exposed himself to Paula, never asked her to kiss his penis, all this stuff. But then they take the opportunity. He's deposed. He's under oath. They take this opportunity to ask him about other women. He denies them all.
And he didn't see it coming.
And then they ask him about Monica Lewinsky. And you could see it on his face.
Yeah, because he also doesn't know that they know anything.
Like he was expecting all the other names.
Yes.
He was not expecting Monica Lewinsky.
No. And they ask if he was ever alone with her in the Oval Office. He totally stumbles over his answer.
Yeah.
And they're asking him like questions about gifts he's trying to deflect. And they ask finally if he ever had sexual relations with Monica. And to get that so that the president of the United States doesn't have to say like sex words, they slide him a piece of paper and they're like, these are all the sex things. Did you do any of these?
Right. And he thinks quickly on his feet. I hate to say it, but the document says that he had to have touched Monica, quote, with an intent to arouse or gratify the sexual desire of any person. And he thinks, now wait a second.
So with Clinton's lightning fast mind, he reads this and thinks, well, she might be arousing me, but I wasn't arousing her, and so therefore I wasn't having sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky.
She was arousing me. I wasn't arousing her. Therefore, no sexual relations.
Yes.
Bada bing, bada boom. He lies again.
He also knows in the moment he's lied under oath. They're going to know that. And this is a felony.
Yeah. Yes. But now, at this point, the press doesn't know about Monica Lewinsky yet. All they know is that Bill Clinton was deposed and Paula Jones is happy about how it went.
Yes.
No one knows anything else.
And she's happy about it because she knows he's lied under oath.
Right. But like, no one knows why.
Right.
It's just like, he got deposed. She's happy. What the hell happened? But reporters are starting to hear that like something really big is about to break and it's something about a young woman in the White House and maybe it's an affair. I don't know, but it's a major investigation.
Because Lucianne, that book agent, gave the story to Newsweek. They're like previewing Linda's fucking book or whatever. Newsweek sits on it, doesn't do it. Lucianne gets mad, calls her friend Matt Drudge.
Played perfectly by Billy Eichner in the Ryan Murphy thing.
Is it Billy Eichner?
It is. Side by side, you can't tell them apart. It is excellent. But so from this news reporter from a long time ago, clearly, a conservative renegade who loves to skewer the liberal elite. Barf, barf, barf. But this guy walked around with a fedora.
It's been a minute since we got the good barf, barf, barf.
I feel like I just said it, but sure. I just hate it. He would walk around with a fedora. He was doing a bit, and he wanted to be an old timey. Hey there, you got Mexican kid, whatever. But he puts the story.
Also a good whatever, a well-timed whatever.
God,
Great, I'll take it.
Matt Drudge. But he has the Drudge report.
Yeah.
And the timing of this is important. The internet is, I'm not maybe 5 minutes old at this point.
Yeah.
Matt Drudge puts this on the internet, this story, the internet explodes.
The internet literally crashes,
the entire, I know, internet kids, this makes no sense. The internet was 10 days old, maybe.
It's true.
He puts this, the biggest, all the sordid details, all this stuff, the entire internet crashes.
Yeah.
Around the country.
It's true. So they poll it and they learn that the country will forgive the infidelity, but not the lying. So he's got to go and admit to the infidelity.
Also, the affair is lying.
Exactly.
Are you kidding me, everybody? Are we really going to do this?
No, they don't care if he lies to Hillary. Nobody likes Hillary, Gillian. If you're not paying attention.
But her emails, right?
Right, exactly.
Look, there are a couple things I don't love about her in this, but God damn it, was she right about everything in 2016. Good Lord.
So we learn that the day this story breaks, Clinton had a previously scheduled news interview. Can you imagine being this guy?
No. So the entire administration is please don't lie. Say absolutely anything else, just don't lie. The one thing, if I had to ask you, beg you to do one thing, please don't lie. What does he do? He lies.
He goes out there and lies. He says,
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
This is the famous, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. That woman. And then he's all of these allegations are false. Now, if you'll excuse me, some of us have work to do.
Exactly. And the journalists are the lady doth protest too much. Obviously there's a story here.
But what this does is it puts the blame and the attack on Monica.
Right.
And now it's about Monica's the monster. And she's a stalker and she's obsessed and she's paranoid.
Because if you think about it, for people who are casual news consumers are thinking, would the president lie? Of course the president wouldn't lie. This woman must be making it up.
Right. And the thing is, she's a joke. She's all over the late night shows. She's slut-shamed. She's laughed at. The thing about that is that Bill Clinton was yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
He allowed all, that narrative to happen. And now SNL is doing, and everyone, I don't understand how she survived this.
I know.
It's unbelievable to me.
And Bill is still out there denying it. And then we learn about the famous blue dress.
And
Monica's got receipts, you guys.
I mean, thanks to Linda Tripp. But this is 7 months into Monica's hell on earth. She's been skewered in the press for 7 months.
Yeah.
The blue dress emerges. It has Bill Clinton semen on it.
Yeah, one of the talking heads says,
she saves a dress on which the president had ejaculated. Even to say that now, you can't believe this. How is it possible?
She saved the dress onto which the president ejaculated.
Okay, I know. But the reason...
If you guys could have seen the look on Gillian's face...
Just feel like Valerie Cherish. I don't need to say that.
Yeah, she was not expecting me to say the word ejaculated.
Because I'm picturing creepy
Bill Clinton
ejaculating. But Bill Clinton now, 800-year-old. He's always been a creep, but 800-year-old Bill Clinton, I can't even. Let's not even get into it. But the reason she saved it, and also another.
She was really disgusted, you guys.
Come on. And I'm no prude. I'm just saying I don't want a sexless marriage. I like my sex-full marriage.
100%.
I'm not a prude, but he's a creep.
Yeah.
And he's 1,000 years old right now.
But we support older people having sex.
Keith Morrison. He can have as much as he wants.
Absolutely.
The point is, a lot of people at the time were ew, gross, she saved the dress. She probably loved it, blah, blah, blah. No, the reason she saved that dress is because Linda Tripp told her to.
The navy blue dress. I would rather you had that in your possession if you need it years from now. That's all I'm going to say.
I have this nagging feeling this can be your insurance one day down the line if he ever turns on you.
Disagree with that.
Yeah.
I think that's good advice. It's the one good thing she told her to do.
I hope she kept it in a garment bag at least.
Oh, God, I know.
But also, Linda wasn't saying this out of the goodness of her heart, remember?
Right. She's saying it because I need that to back up the tapes I just made.
I need it. Yeah. It's my insurance, Monica, not yours. Dumbasses.
We learn when Monica signed the cooperation agreement with Ken Starr, she turned the dress over.
They also blow right by that. She's not cooperating with the FBI. Okay, great.
She has to, or she's going to go to prison.
Well, of course.
I know. Because she's turned it over and there is DNA evidence on it, Bill Clinton is compelled to give a blood sample. And at that point, he knows the jig is up.
Right. Now he has to come out and say he lied.
Right.
But at the same time, keep everyone on his side and get people on his side.
And weirdly, he's great at that.
So he reads the statement.
Yeah. He's like sitting for this like deposition or whatever, and he has like a script. And it's just like, I don't know. It's so Bill Clinton. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's just, but it's still like, well, we didn't have sexual intercourse. He's not just saying, yes, this is what happened. I'm a creep. I've been doing this for years. I mean, everyone in Arkansas has known about it. Can we just say it?
He invented that I smoked marijuana but didn't inhale. What did you expect?
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know. Now he's also being questioned about this.
Yeah.
So this is where we get the infamous.
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
Yes.
It depends on what the meaning of
is. I know. I've never actually gotten the full sentence of that because it's all just ridiculous. And they're saying
Bill Clinton won that round because it became a definition of what sex is.
He got to redefine what sex is.
They verbally spar back and forth.
Right. Because like his point is like, well, I must have misunderstood the question because we didn't have penetrative sex. I was answering that question.
Right.
So we didn't have that. So we didn't have sex. And now I've defined what sex is and I win.
But all of these like middle-aged boomer white dudes, like no one wants to say blowjob.
Right.
No one wants to say oral sex. Like Ken Starr, I
mean, you basically fainted when I said ejaculate.
It's the picture. It's the visual. I'm a visual person. Oh, now I see his face.
No,
gross. See? You hate it too.
Yeah.
But Ken Starr could have been like, I'm talking about oral sex, sweetheart. And no one wanted to like, it's like.
I wish that's how they interrogated each other. Yeah. Hey, sweet tits. I'm talking about
oral sex. Right. Did you get a blow J or not? Let's move on. Want to go to lunch? But no one wanted to say that. It's like people too scared of the gay stuff, so we let John Wayne Gacy just murder people for 10 years. Yes. It's like, can you just ask him about the blow J?
Yeah. I've never heard you abbreviate it like that. A blow J.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. We've gone
I'm
really
in a weird place.
I do love because like eventually people get so tired of Ken Starr being such a fucking prude that Michael Moore, remember the filmmaker Michael Moore?
Of course.
Fahrenheit 9/11, Bowling for Columbine,
yes.
like that guy sicko. He shows up outside of Ken Starr's house with a cast of The Crucible in full costume.
In like 1600s garb acting out a witch hunt.
Yes.
And there's a guy in a pilgrim outfit, the hat, the tights, the shoes with the buckles, chasing after Ken Starr's car. Because Ken Starr spent $50 million on this investigation.
Yeah.
It was 36 boxes of documents, and they release it online as the Starr Report.
Yes.
And it crashed the internet once
again.
Of course.
But like, only 3 people can be on at a time, Gillian. It was the 90s.
You think we're kidding? Back then, like, everything crashed. But like, Starr and his team weren't telling journalists, like, here's the legality, here's where he lied. They were calling them up and being like, that's super graphic and embarrassing and humiliating.
They said the word anus 88 times or something.
Yeah, you should focus on that. Let's ruin Monica a little bit more. Let's do that. That's what they were doing. And that's disgusting.
Yes. In the end, the public didn't care. Like, the Starr Report was salacious and people read it, but like, it didn't really change anybody's mind. So Clinton is impeached in the House. Mm-hmm. He's not convicted by the Senate, so he's not removed from office. And like, nothing changed.
So nothing happens. Except Monica's life was ruined for years until she like picked herself back up again and just became the strong woman. I mean, she always was, clearly, but now she's an icon.
She's an icon. And my last note here, it says, guess what? Hillary doesn't want to talk about it.
Shocking.
I know.
We got trouble with a capital T. That rhymes with P. That stands for power balance.
I thought you said power bottom.
No.
Oh, girl. What's this one called?
Truth and Lies, Bill and Monica.
We did that one, fam.
We did it.
Hey, reminder, everyone come to Obsessed Fest.
Okay.
Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm coming.
I'm coming.
Means
I'm
to anyone.
And don't be worried about coming by yourself. Right on the very first day, one of the first things we're doing is a meetup for solo travelers.
Yeah.
It's going to be all of the network people. It's going to be all of our other friends. We're doing panels and sing-alongs and meet and greets, and we're doing drag brunch.
Yeah.
And we're doing live shows. 2,200 of your true crime best friends.
Yeah.
So just go to obsessedfest.com. It's September 31st to October 2nd in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, that means we're starting spooky season together.
I know.
Come on.
I know. Also, if you want more Gillian and me, please join us on the Patreon.
Yeah, why don't you?
What are we doing now?
We just did Wild Crime. We're doing Love Fraud on Showtime.
Yes.
We did Puppet Master.
Oh my God.
We got some crazy things on there. Oh, we did like The Staircase 1,000 years ago, The Jinx.
Totally. Lorena, Serial Season 1.
The Vow,
I'll Be Gone in the
Heaven's
Dark.
Gate.
There's so much stuff there. Go listen. It's patreon.com/truecrimeobsessed or go to our website, click on the Patreon link. My last request, get in the Facebook group, please.
Yeah, come hang.
Because there's 50,000 people in there. We've got like several wonderful moderators led by our lead mod, Sasha.
Sasha's the best.
It's a very safe place. Nothing gets out of hand. Share your dog memes. Talk about the episodes. Meet your true crime besties.
Just come hang out. And just like, don't be dicks about it.
Don't be
just
dicks.
come hang out.
Yeah.
Don't be like an unculter about it.
Oh, God. Girl, what are we doing next?
We are doing The Hunt for the Chicago Strangler.
Oh, damn. I've never heard of the Chicago Strangler.
So this is 3 episodes on Discovery Plus. We're doing that thing. We turn it into a 2-parter.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
All right, well, stay tuned for the trailer for that.
It's really scary.
Our ridiculous and hilarious outtakes, which I'm assuming are going to be bananas.
Like, did we just do that? Was that a real thing? Was I here for any of it?
I think so.
Was I? Okay. I think you were here too. I guess we'll
Yeah.
find out next Tuesday when it airs.
Oh, my God. All right, we love you, fam.
We love you.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Strangulation, asphyxiation, every single one of them done the same way.
These are not random acts of street violence.
Okay, so is there any marks or anything on her? No, there's something wrapped around her neck. There's something wrapped around her neck?
It screams serial killer.
In my opinion, when you get to the black and brown communities, they get policed differently.
You're talking about women who were thrown in the trash, who were found in abandoned buildings, like horrors.
We continue to worry that 51 is not the right number.
We know damn well it's more women than that. And then you say, well, we don't know why these things are happening here. Yes, you do. Because you've essentially created the perfect place to get away with murder.
Don't give me that self-deprecating humor that like the gays love and try to get me on your side. I'm not doing it with you, and I'm not doing it with Ann Coulter.
Don't do it.
But I love the self-effacing jokes. I'm not going to be Miss America either, by the way.
Fine.
You know what I mean?
Fine.
Yeah.
Thanks for quoting Taylor Swift. You guys heard that, right? Great. So,
I do always wonder, Monica and Hillary are both like feminist icons now. Have they ever met? Have they ever spoken?
I can't imagine they have.
No. But if like in secret, you know what I mean? Are we going to get that play 50 years from now about the time Monica and Hillary met in secret?
And it's just like the conversation, but they're both sitting at chairs looking into the audience.
Totally.
It'll be at the Lyceum Theater, the smallest theater on Broadway. Just be like Hillary and Monica.
Oh my God.
Hillary versus Monica or Monica versus Hillary or something. It'll run for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't care about that.
Yeah, no, I'm saying to America. I'm not yelling at you.
Great, okay.
In this instance, I'm yelling at America.
You're yelling to me, not at me.
Exactly.
And that.
See, why do you understand it, but my husband does not?
I don't know. Ask Mike. He doesn't get it either.
Why didn't we just marry each other and have a beautiful sexless marriage?
Because I don't want that.
I know.
I like what we have, which is a beautiful sexless marriage. That's actually exactly what
You're
we have.
absolutely right. Oh my God.